Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Run. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kind of being part of the show. I can see a whole lot of people are probably tuned into their TV. Well, I'll tell you what's going on to hear about Donald Trump once again getting indicted, and he's getting arraigned right now, arrested right now, fingerprinted right now, booked right now for the criminal that he is. E2247, welcome to the program. Welcome to the program, Bridge MCP, who says, hey, y'all. Likewise, we have El Señor Paul Fleming Sr., Paul Fleming Sr. from Atlanta, un lugar favorito de mío, que me gusta. There we also have AVQ, the one and only Michael Rudnin. How are you guys doing today? Michael said that he'll be watching from Twitch. Well, great to see you here, everybody that's here thus far. I think a lot of people are probably watching a lot of what's going on TV right now because where are my peeps? Where are my peeps? Well, you know what? We understand that they are, in fact, going to be coming. I'm pretty sure some more going to be showing up as they are right now. As Lee Grant is in the house, he says, hey, y'all. Lee Grant, how you doing, my brother? Bridge MCP says, hola, peeps. Hola, Bridge. ¿Cómo está mi amiga favorita? Estoy bien. It's on mute, but you're watching. I'm watching as well. We got to make sure that we keep this thing covered, right? So yeah, we're keeping it all on making sure we keep abreast. I forgot to turn on the closed caption, but I can kind of hear it a little bit, so that'll be fine. Anyhow, we're going to have a great program for you today. I think you're going to like it, but you know what? Where I want to start, if nobody has any commentary, I have quite a few videos for you today. These are have an activist that is a politician, progressive politician running in California. I also have an artist that is from New Orleans, and I also have Monica Garcia, who is into about voting. So these are three activists that I pulled in for interviews at Netroots Nation 2023. We did over, I think it's going to be up to 48 now because there's some folks that want to do it over Zoom. We couldn't get a time arranged out there. It seems like I'm going to start out with El Señor Mike Pence. It seems like Mike Pence is touching the waters. It's tepid. He's checking to see how it's going to go over if he can attack Donald Trump for what Donald Trump really is, an anti-constitutionalist, etc. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll go ahead and take it on the other side. Fantastic what we're going to show. It seems like Mike Pence has finally gotten a spine. You got to see what he has to say in probably more a rather extensive interview that he did, or not an interview, a presser that he did with respect to Donald Trump and this new indictment. It turns out he actually has some interesting words to say. Indictment, anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president. And you know what he did? He said that that's exactly what Trump did. Check this out, then we'll take it on the other side.
Irrespective of the indictment, I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election. And then on that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution, but I chose the Constitution, and I always will. And I really do believe that anyone who puts himself over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States again. Now, with regard to the substance of the indictment, I've been very clear. I had hoped it wouldn't come to this. I had hoped that this issue and the judgment of the president's actions that day would be left to the American people. I testified under a subpoena before the grand jury. I'm somebody that believes in the rule of law, but look, I have nothing to hide. So my focus is going to be not on the indictment or the merits of it. There are profound issues. The president can make his case in court, but I'm going to make it clear to the American people as I seek the Republican nomination that despite what Donald Trump has said over the last 2.5 years, that I had no right to overturn the election.
If this isn't a change in Mike Pence, I don't know what is. But you know what? If we are to make a change, it has to be more than Mike Pence, right? It has to be a lot of the other MAGA folks that are running that finally turns on this narcissistic thug who was once the president of the United States. Now, if that happens, yes, he'll maintain his 33% core, but I really think the drop-off will be substantive enough that it will likely guarantee not just a presidential landslide, in as much as the polls are not showing that right now, but an electoral landslide, not only in the electoral college, but also for the subsequent races, meaning House races, governorships, etc. I know many are looking at this and are scared and think this is wishful thinking. I think this may be the point where we see the Republican Party starts to hit the inception of its destruction. Check this out and really think about it, because I think, a lot of times when things are about to fall, you don't exactly see when it's going to happen. Well, I think we are approaching that point. I really do. I really think we're approaching that point. But anyhow, welcome aboard, Melanie Keelan. Great to see you here from Barcelona, Spain. 2 programs today, Melanie. I saw you earlier in the morning, which would be, I guess, early afternoon there. Anyhow, Bridge MCP says federal courts don't allow cameras. Only SCOTUS can change that, but this trial of trials should be aired to everyone in the U.S. It might help us all. I think people need to see this in real time, because this is dangerous what Donald Trump is doing, and the lies that he's going to tell when people are not privy to seeing this videos on TV is going to be dangerous, because he'll lie and he'll create all kinds of stuff. We need to see this trial in real time before AI and all of that can change quite a few things. So yes, we need to see it in real time. I'm with you, Bridge MCP. E2247 says 216 years ago today, Aaron Burr's treason trial was plotting an insurrection against the United States, began in Richmond, Virginia, presided over by Chief Justice Marshall. E2247 also says the only reason it wasn't televised is that televisions hadn't yet been invented yet. There's no such excuse today. Agreed 100%. Michael Rudnin says establishment Republicans are trying their darndest best to prevent Trump from taking the GOP down with them. Trump's way out in the lead this Republican primary. Trump is likely to go forward to the general and then crash and burn once the trials start and the evidence becomes impossible to ignore. It sure seems like most American conservatives will choose to ignore and deny Trump's legal problems for as long as they can until they can't. I swear this playbook is the same damn thing most American conservatives are doing with climate change, as if they don't want to live in reality. I agree, brother. I agree. Carl Cox is in the house. He says Trump is code for an AZI. Bridge MCP says, hey, Melanie, and she is in the house. What is Facha Fuchsia tongue out? Oh, what does that mean, Bridge? Face Fuchsia tongue out. Am I missing something? Is that a phrase I should know? Is my mind slipping me or something? I don't know. Help me out, Bridge. What does that really mean? Face Fuchsia tongue out. Face Fuchsia tongue out. What emoji is that? I don't know. Oh, that was supposed to be an emoji. That's what it is. That's right. That looks like the signal for the emoji. That's right. Sometimes your mind is thinking something so different from where things are that you forget that that is the kind of the symbol way in which emojis are in. This emoji, exactamente mundo. Okay, let's go ahead and talk to Monica Garcia, what she has to say, and then we'll take it on the other side. Monica Garcia, take it away. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm here with Monica Garcia. Monica Garcia is with
Stand Up America. We are a community of 2 million progressives from across the country. We're in every state and every congressional district. And we're working to pass common sense democracy reforms.
Now, in these times where we have many times Republicans are trying to kind of garner the market on voters for things that's out of their interest. How are you all making a difference?
So we are supporting democracy efforts in different states. There are states that are pushing to expand voting, to bring more people into the fold, and restore voting rights, for example, for people who were formerly incarcerated. That happened in Minnesota. Recently, they also passed a big democracy package that makes it easier for folks to vote. So while many Republican states are trying to restrict the right to vote, there are others, and people should feel hopeful about this. There are others. Minnesota recently, New Mexico recently, are trying to make it easier. And that's something that we should be excited about.
Now, I get that, let's say the states that we consider blue states are able to do that. Are you able to get some sort of a work done in the red states where that practice of denying people the ability to vote easily is done? Are you able to find approaches to get around it in those states? Are you helping people, let's say, register to vote or getting around the hoops that stop them from voting?
Yeah, so what we have been doing in different states is defense work, so lobbying folks or lobbying lawmakers in those states that are trying to restrict the right to vote, and getting our members involved in, calling their members or their local representatives to stop those. And I mean, there have been efforts that have been stopped in Alabama. Our community of there was calling folks, but there's also like a big movement within those states that are like used to fighting those fights. And they were successful this year. In other states like Florida passed a very restrictive law that makes it harder for third-party organizations to register people to vote. And as we know, those organizations often are the ones that are registering lots of voters of color. But in that respect, there are other folks working through the legal system to challenge those. And I think it was just this week, a judge paused parts of that Florida law.
They sure did. Yeah, they sure did. Now, how are you guys funded? Because, I guess the big thing right now is how these different organizations that are trying to do good, especially the ones that are considered doing the progressive things, are funded, or is it through websites? How are you funded?
So part of it is through donations. If you sign up to receive our emails at standupamerica.com, but we're very fortunate in that our founder has, put in his own, he put his money where his mouth is, because he truly cares about these issues. And so with that, and supplemented obviously with, generous donations from either the public or donors, we've been able to support in-state partners.
No, that is great, because one of the biggest problems we have in the movement to get people more engaged is in fact funding. That you have I don't want to say a Santa Claus, but a good donor. It's a
good citizen.
A good citizen. Yeah. I think it is so important. Now, this election coming along, 2024, it's been sort of scary to a lot of people, because we've seen a whole lot of these legislatures actually effectively pass laws, and we have a Supreme Court that isn't conducive to make these changes. Later on today, we're going to speak to one of your cohorts on the Supreme Court. But what specifically can you say about 2024 that shouldn't give anybody pause about, going out there and do it? What can we do right now to mitigate all what these red states are doing?
Yeah, I think getting involved in your local and state fights is critically important, because they are the ones passing the laws that determine, really who gets to vote next year. Or who has that ease to vote next year. And so, visiting standupamerica.com or going to local organizations that do this work is going to put us in a good position to vote next year.
Well, that is so important. Now, you have a stellar career. You worked with some of the big wheels out there on the Hill. Tell us a little bit about that, because I want folks to understand that, we have a lot of good people out there doing good work like yourself.
Yeah. So I worked on Capitol Hill for nearly a decade. I first started off as a junior staffer working with Democratic leader Harry Reid in the Senate, and I worked for a few other folks, including Senator Durbin and Senator Catherine Cortez Masto.
That's a good. That was a hell of a start, because I tell you what, they are also champions for things like voting and the others. So it was great having it. Before we close, anything would you like to add to the commentary?
Yeah, I'd say that people often get discouraged about the state of our political affairs, but there are so many good stories across the country of people fighting to expand voting rights, to get their issues that they care about across, and they're winning. In California in recent years, restoring voting rights to formerly incarcerated people. In New York, I think it was last year, passed a Voting Rights Act. And so, the pressure that people put on their lawmakers, it really works. I mean, working in Congress, when folks would call into the office, constituents would call, the members pay attention.
Oh, so they really do listen to those calls.
Yeah, absolutely. The folks at the front desk, they go back and they report to people, we've gotten so many calls on this issue, something that we should be paying attention to. And they really want to hear from their constituents, especially if you are a constituent, if you live in their district, if you live in their state. In the case of senators, they're listening.
Excellent. That's nice to know. Well, look, Ms. Garcia, thank you so kindly for being here on Politics Done Right. And thank you for the work that you're doing. It's very important work. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. Absolutely so, folks. Absolutely. Yes, Senor Rodney. I'm hopeful for the next generation of progressives who are pushing for local issues and working their way up. I am in complete agreement with you, sir. By the way, let's see, Deborah Moyers is in the house. How you doing, Deborah? Great to see you here. Who else is in? Let's see, Dr. Janine S. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Great to have you here. This next young man is from New Orleans, and I found his story intriguing. Check it out, and then we'll take it. En el otro lado, we'll take it on the other side. Yeah, Trump was just sworn in or checked in or whatever it is that they do at these places. So let's go ahead and listen to Marcus Akinlana. Marcus Akinlana, welcome to Politics Done Right. How you doing, my friend?
Oluwa Ishenla, creator, makes a great work.
Great. Well, hey,
feel good.
Thanks for you, my brother. Let me tell you something. First of all, before I get started, why are you at Netroots Nation?
I was invited by the Vocal Fellowship Program. I'm a Vocal Fellow for 2023. I'm doing a project in the Deep South, and they also give us opportunities for training. So I'm here to get my consciousness expanded.
Okay, well, now you taught me something over here. You know, in Panama, where I'm originally from, we have some of the folks of our hue, of our ethnicity. They were called cimarrones. Those were I guess the ex-slaves that took care of things on their own. Well, you told me there's a similarity in New Orleans.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, the original name of Louisiana is Bulbancha, the place of many tongues. And in Bulbancha, we had more, during the time, the dark days of slavery,
right.
we had more maroons, cimarrones, per capita.
That's what I'm talking about, the cimarrones, yeah.
Per capita than Haiti or Jamaica. People don't know this. And they were ferocious freedom fighters,
right,
and ingenious builders of their own way of life. And they basically took over the bayous in the eastern part of what's now called Louisiana, but the real name is Bulbancha, and in other areas north and west of what's now New Orleans, aka Bulbancha.
Right.
Yeah? Right. And so they refused to be enslaved, and they fought militarily.
Right.
But they also were masters of agriculture, bushmasters, masters of society, of building alternative societies.
Right.
Right.
Now, what do you want to bring with this? Because, I mean, I think you're trying to reinvigorate, you're trying to rebuild what was there, because you think, I guess, the culture has fallen, gone awry, and you want to build back the strength that this culture had?
Well, without a doubt. We're living in a post-Katrina reality. We have not really recovered from Katrina. People are not really talking about that, but it's a fact as far as I'm concerned. But beyond that, we have over 300 years of vicious colonization.
Right.
Okay? So, now we find ourselves at a crisis. If you're familiar with what's going on lately in Bulbancha, aka New Orleans, you will know that we've been having all the evils of society spiraling out of control.
Right.
Even though we have such a beautiful place with enormous culture, tradition,
what are you
heritage.
calling the evils of society? What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, sociopathic behavior that, as far as I'm concerned, has its roots in Eurocentric colonization.
Right.
Okay? Which then exacerbates things like homicide rates, poverty, poor educational situations, housing shortage. You said it there. All the basics of life are in jeopardy for many people.
Okay, now you just call that the
Eurocentric colonization.
And you're saying that because let me tell you, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
You're telling me that you believe that the colonization that has occurred, the enslavement that has occurred, all of these things are the genesis of the problems in New Orleans and these other inner cities. It's actually what has caused this particular issue.
You said it better than me. The genesis. I like the way you put it, the genesis.
Right.
This does not take away anybody's responsibility to rise up and help to elevate this situation.
Which is what you are
That's
doing
right.
in your organization.
But the genesis of this comes from that, essentially.
Right.
And then from there, it spreads out and spirals out into other unwanted behaviors and unwanted ways of thinking. One of the things that Eurocentric colonization does is it limits a person's worldview, so that whatever they're faced with in life, they can only pull out of that Eurocentric colonizing trick bag to try to come up with solutions to it. You dig? Yeah. All right. So what we're doing is we're uplifting the name of the indigenes, Bulbancha, right? The place of many tongues. We're uplifting the way of thinking, the way of problem solving of the Maroons, so we can repopularize that, so people can add that into their trick bag to master the challenges of life right now, today.
I think, and tell me if I'm interpreting you correctly. I think what you're saying is you want to redirect these people's focus, and you think in redirecting these people's focus, you can actually have them remember where they're from, and because they had some sort of a personal authority, that will reduce this type of violence or whatever that
will contribute to a higher culture.
Because again, they will no longer be living in, or they will no longer be under what a foreign culture has. I shouldn't even say it that way, but what a foreign culture has done to them. I agree with that. A foreign culture has imposed upon them, which causes psychosis. Yeah. Now let me tell you something that's interesting, right? Because and this is something that I've faced before and had to have answered before. Folks would say, "Oh, well, they would want to make it the issue that makes somehow the violence, well, let's say within the urban communities, the Black communities, in your case, Bulbancha, New Orleans, that it is something intrinsic to the people itself." And they will go ahead and say, look at what's happening in not Kenya anymore, but look at what's happening in Yemen, or look at what's happening in these, and they will try to give an example of the violence that our media shows over here from these places at the same time that it shows the violence, and not realizing that two things: the colonization occurred
all over the place
as well.
Yeah, they haven't done their studying.
But secondly, it's not only that, but our brothers and sisters of all ethnicities, or brothers and sisters of all races. Let's not forget the Yugoslavians, the war, what Yugoslavians did to Yugoslavians. Let's not forget what Serbians did to Herzegovinians. Let's not forget what Irish did to Irish. Let's not forget that the meanness of humanity at times can be all over, and it has no hue. It has no color. But the fact that we have certain issues, we need to start looking at humanity other than to solve our problems, and which is something that you're working on. Tell me something else that you guys are doing out there.
Well, I'll give you an example. Just I guess a couple of weeks ago, we had the fourth Bulbancha Rise Up, which is a series of Afro-Indigenous inspired Ifa, voodoo, art, music, culture events to inspire people. We're not really trying to redirect people, but we are trying to inspire people. Because I'm a Olorisha, I'm a traditional priest, I'm an artist, and a few more things. So my job is to inspire. My job is to open people's eyes. And then they can solve the problems on their own. Well, or we'll solve it together, you dig? So what we did, give me an example. Treme is the oldest African-American neighborhood in the United States. It sits there on land that was already cultivated by the indigenous people previous to anybody else coming here.
To that land,
All right. At one point, the people of Treme, the black people of Treme, became big-time banana farmers. But if you come to Bulbancha now, New Orleans now, I don't really see black people cultivating bananas anymore.
They're not cultivating hardly anything.
Well, I wouldn't go that far.
That wasn't a disparaged comment. What I'm saying is that when you urbanize a people and you take away their options to land,
they can lose some of their sales, particularly if you have thousands of years tradition of being earth people.
The reason I hold back right there is the comment was not intended to be disparaging at all to the people. It was disparaging to the system.
I'm with you. So our ancestors, our Egun, our ancestors were big time banana farmers. And then, we have people that are doing great in Bulbancha. We have some people that are trying to figure it out. We have some people whose destinies are totally thrown off, But yet I don't see the banana plantations. I did see the banana plantation in the beloved Vietnamese American community in Bulbancha.
That's my point, right?
Okay, up until Katrina devastated their community. So their banana plantation is sitting going rotten now too because of Katrina, But up until Katrina, they were cultivating the bananas. So what we did as part of our invoking powerful metaphysical ritual, this last one, we planted banana trees. You see what I'm saying?
I like that. In other words,
just did it.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. That's the point. Now, I don't want to see you out here with a balaclava on, carjacking beautiful middle-aged soccer mamas. What I would want to see you understanding is cultivate that land and bring back the banana plantation.
I mean, and that, again, I think that it is important for all of us to engage in the solution to this problem and realize, first and foremost, that the violence in America, the violence elsewhere is a human problem. It's not a race or cultural problem. And when we can get above that and move beyond, that's when the solution is going to come. And I think people like you who have taken made it your life story to make those changes to solve the problems you can solve, I think that's more important than anything else. Give me a closer.
Well, I agree with what you said. I'm on a vibration of bring your gifts to the table. I do not think I have all the keys to solve the problem, but I'm going to bring my gifts to the table. Other people bring their gifts to the table. And little by little together, we're going to make that boat rise higher, And so I see us winning. Right now, we're in crisis, but I see us winning. So my last words, I'm going to say, me being from New Orleans, from a New Orleans family for a long time, the last thing you're going to hear out of my mouth today is Bulbancha forever.
Marcus Akinlana, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics and Right, my brother.
Thank you for just meeting me and opening your platform to me.
Absolutely.
I shall.
We
spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. Marcus Akinlana, welcome to Politics Done Right. How you doing, my friend?
Man, I couldn't get it to work. I couldn't get it to signal. Hey, anyhow, my dear Lee Grant. No, let me take care of Michael first. Michael says Eurocentric colonization is the root of crime. Huh? Need to prove an underlying point before expanding upon it. I'm having a hard time following his trend of thought. What he was trying to say is, you notice at the end when I asked him about certain things, I don't know if I got this on video or it was offline. He said, I was dismissing, I was earlier with him dismissing the difference between crime and ethnicity, racism, whatever. And he said to me, he said, be careful. He said, remember, there are changes that have occurred for those who are enslaved and the enslavers that are, because of what it has changed, it has made it I don't want to say it's not a genetic change, but it's a survival change. And that does have some merit to that. Now, he went beyond that earlier and he said, and I think he said it there, he said there's a certain level of psychosis that occurs because, I mean, if you are constantly under pressure, there are certain dynamics that changes in the human anatomy. Many believe that the reason why, let's say, African Americans have a higher propensity, well, I should say black folks, not just African Americans, have a propensity for high blood pressure is in fact the stresses that they've had to go through. So I'm not a biologist that can make any real claim on that, but I'll just lay it out there. So more study, Michael, I can agree with that. Now, here's Lee Grant. He says, one man's colonization is another man's civilization. Unfortunately, that's a true statement, just like one person's liberator is one person's terrorist, right? Those are things that, like a person in Africa would look at the folks who came from Europe over there and call them colonizers because that's what they are. And it's not only that they're colonizers, they're colonizer meaning taking things that wasn't originally theirs, right? And to equate that though with civilization, I think it's kind of dubious. Now, what concerns me is when Mike says at least Western civilization helped end the slave trade. Well, hell, the only one who could help end the slave trade was the people who created it. They ended it either by force, meaning that they were forced to end it, or they got benevolent. It was never a benevolent ending of the slave trade, of course. It was because they had to. But anyway, I got one more video. Let me go ahead and set that up real quickly, and then we'll get started on Sean Frame. I love this guy. Check this guy out, and then we'll take it on the other side. And if you guys have things you want to put on the screen and all that sort of stuff, get it ready because this is the last video. Welcome to Politics Done Right. Today, I'm honored to speak to Sean Frame. Sean, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
I heard you were a special progressive out of California, and you are running for
California State Assembly, District 6, which is right in the capital. The capital of California is actually in my district.
Sacramento is in your district.
Sacramento, yep.
All right. Well, anyway, what are you going to bring to? First of all, what are your beliefs? Why do you think you'll make a good? What do you call them? A state representative? Do you call them state reps?
Yeah. We would call it a member of the assembly, member of the state legislature.
Right.
So assembly person.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because some states call them different names, etc., even though they're the same purpose.
Right.
What exactly do you intend to bring to them?
Well, I mean, for me, look, the Capitol is in my district.
Right.
And what I've noticed living there is that it feels for most people like the Capitol is a million miles away.
Right.
The people live there, they can see the Capitol.
Right.
It's 10 minutes from their front door, maybe.
Right.
But yet their voice is not being heard in the Capitol.
Right.
So to me, the real impetus for me wanting to run is, look, I'm a union worker.
I love that.
Education worker. A lot of my coworkers are not even being paid a living wage in the fourth largest economy on earth in the history of humanity. Is that okay?
No, it's not okay.
Not okay, right? So I really come at it from that point of view, that the regular working folks need representation in our capital. They need to be heard. We have a Democratic supermajority in California.
Let me stop you right there, because you have a Democratic supermajority, and interestingly, what happens is we almost had Medicare for all, healthcare for all in your state.
That's correct.
Supermajority. Democrats always complain about the Republicans are holding us back. What the hell happened?
So that's an interesting question. That there were 20 co-sponsors on the single payer bill, healthcare. And when it got to the last, literally the 11th hour, the bill was pulled by the author, Ash Kalra.
Yes.
The bill was pulled.
Now, he got a lot of flack, but supposedly he was covering for a lot of folks who had other things that they didn't want the bill pulled.
Yeah, I feel for him, because I know he wanted to bring it, and I know he was serious. I think it was a real, there was a real intention on his part to bring healthcare and have it passed.
Right.
So I know it must have been a very difficult situation. And look, let's be honest, not every Democrat supports single payer. We know that.
It's because of Democrats that we don't have single payer. If we got all Democrats on board, we wouldn't have a problem. So look, you are going to the legislature. You want to go to the legislature. Tell me what you're going to bring to California, and with that reflected over to all of us.
Well, let me give you an example. So I'm a union education worker, and I make a reasonably good living. Not a fantastic living, right? I'm not driving a Porsche. I get by.
Right.
Right now, I pay about 30% of my income, including my employer's contribution, goes to my healthcare.
30%.
30%. So just as an example, that's a working class perspective.
Right.
People say, oh, unions, they provide healthcare, and you've got that. That's true.
Yeah.
But what I would rather, I'm a union negotiator.
Right.
I would rather be negotiating money, not money for insurance companies.
Healthcare does not belong with the employer.
It does not.
Right.
It absolutely does not.
Right.
And I don't want to be negotiating that at the table.
Absolutely not.
It's just a diminishment of what's the value that's possible for us as employees.
Right.
It takes away. Every year, the healthcare goes up. This year, CalPERS, which provides our healthcare, went up 11%.
And inflation is under 11%, but somehow healthcare can be, or we have not yet addressed the fraud in healthcare, and the only way to solve that is to have a single payer system that is that isn't for profit. And what's amazing, my friend, is that it's hard for people. If I were to ask you, right, if I said, hey, Sean, please pay this bill for me, and I'll charge you 30 cents to pay your dollar bill. So I'll pay, you want me to pay your dollar bill? Give me $1.30. I'll pay it for you. It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. You're exactly right. So all the issues I look at, I look through that lens, right? Like we have so many, like for example, education. 40% of the California state budget is supposed to be used on education.
Right.
And that was supposed to be the floor, the minimum funding level.
Right.
Well, what do we get every year? 40%. Not 40.1%?
40%.
40%.
Yeah.
How can an education system be maintained with that as your funding basis? And the thought process in the legislature is when they're making out the budget every year, okay, 40%, 40%, 40%. Doesn't matter if there's greater need. It doesn't matter if there are people falling behind. It doesn't matter if California is now in the lowest quartile in the United States on per pupil spending, which we are. That's 40% is just locked in.
Shame.
That's shameful.
Shameful.
So this, and look, wages. Sacramento is a company town.
Right.
Sacramento is mostly public employees.
Right.
You know, between the legislature that's there, you got the governor, you got all of the infrastructure of our state is all based in Sacramento. And then education workers like myself. It's a huge number of public employees.
Right.
Why on earth are there so many people who are housing insecure in a place that it is the center of power for the fourth largest economy on earth?
So then we're looking at Californians now. Tell Californians what is your platform, and in telling Californians what's your platform, make it afterwards why it should be a national platform.
Okay. And should I look into you want me to look right at the...
You look right at that
one right there? Okay.
Yeah.
So my platform is really a working class platform. It's called For Us, All of Us. And so the things we were just talking about, it's fully funding education and making sure that education in California is among the best in the country, and leading the way and showing the rest of America what can be done. It's real action on the climate crisis, which should also be part of what we're doing in the United States of America. California, with 1 in 10 Americans living in California, should be the state leading the way on just about everything we do. It is single-payer healthcare, absolutely single-payer healthcare, and that should be what we have in the United States of America. And it's a living wage for people that automatically adjusts up. So setting a wage floor that leaves people housing secure. Because when we talk about people being unhoused, what leads to people being unhoused? Well, half of it is that they aren't earning enough money. Yeah, if you're not earning enough money, you're automatically housing insecure, one incident away. We have to stop having people earn such a low wage that they can't actually make a living, and that when one bad thing happens, they fall out of their house or they fall out of the system, and are so. Then what do you have to do? You have to find people and pull them back up, and you have to keep people from going there.
Right.
You know, I honestly, these are the issues that I want to lead on, and if we lead on them in California, we can make it happen in the United States of America, because we have 1 in 10 citizens, and we have such an enormous part of the American economy.
And you are the 4th largest economy
on earth.
In the world.
On earth.
Sean Frame, it's been my pleasure to speak to you, and good luck, because
thank you.
What we need, full-throated progressives out there making a difference.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. All right. Deborah says, Sean for president. I really like that guy. He is, he is a full-throated progressive. Lee Grant says, writer Zora Neale Houston said, slavery is the price I paid for civilization. I think you may be taking that particular thing out of context, right? I think you are taking that word, that phrase out of context. But it's amazing, because you're almost that. And I don't know if you, Brother Grant, for somebody who isn't me, right? For somebody who isn't me, because our words can't do anything to me. I don't give people who have terrible words the power over me with words, with hot air, right? But let me just tell you how that could come across to some people. When you say somebody said slavery is the price I paid for civilization, it's almost saying like these animals were domesticated, they needed to have been beaten up, etc., to join the civilized world. That's not true at all. No particular human type of civilization is somehow intrinsic to what civilization really is. Civilization simply means we're working together. And I'm sorry, tribes all over the world, whether they be in Africa or Europe, they've been working together for a long time. and that one particular one were conquerors, meaning were the one particular group of folks who were interested in taking over others. I don't call that civilization. I call that criminality. Let's see. John Carter says, hey, welcome, John. I haven't seen you in a while, my brother. Where are you today? Are you in the United States or are you in Japan? When Sean said he wants to fund education, was he talking, he was talking pre-K and after post-12. He wants free education. John Carter says, we just wish we could properly fund K-12 in Texas. It's amazing that that's all we're looking for. Let's see what else we got. John Carter said, in Houston today, Tokyo mañana. I tell you, he flies the big birds, guys. Anyhow, Michael Rodden says, out of control quote, the full quote, slavery is the price I paid for civilization, and the choice was not with me. It is a bully adventure and worth all that I have paid through my ancestors for it. No one on earth ever had a greater chance for glory, the world to be won and nothing to be lost. Thank you. You know, I have the absolute best team here at Politics Done Right. Thank you for looking that up in real time, Brother Rudnin, and putting it out there, because context is everything. And using that phrase that, you see, Lee Grant, when we tell you that the sources of information that you kind of get from, they are using words to mislead you and to change you from things that I know deep in your heart you believe. Michael Ronen says, this is from how it feels to be colored me. Zora Neale Hurston, 1928. Thank you, my brother. Seems the lag is still too much today. Really? Aren't you guys getting my... Oh, you're talking about the time between when I'm done and not... Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a quote on that one right now. All right. Maywood also said there is still slavery right here in this country, and slavery right here in this country. And yes, people are trying to end it. It's just the corporate ring right wing. Thank you, brother. I am glad that we all together have been learning that, in effect, the corporate state, what the corporations are nothing more than the new form of slavery. Because, again, the thing about it is they've perfected it so well that the slaves don't realize that they're slaves. Well, some of us do. And, that's why we have Politics Done Right, right? All right. Carl Cox says, I'm concerned that there will be not enough members of the jury when Trump goes on trial, that there will be a hung jury in each of this trial, and he won't be convicted for the traitor that he is. I think when people see how deep this stuff runs, I don't think they'll get a fascist on the thing. I think they'll be very careful not to get a fascist on the court. I mean, on the jury pool. We can hope. All right, let's see. Breach has a tripleta here. Let's see. Let me start from the first one she had, because I think it's a 1 of 3 for Breach, right? So if she did a 1 of 3, I only see number 2. Where is number 1? I don't see number 1. I don't want to read her stuff out of order. So let's see if I Breach MCP, that's 2 out of 3. Breach MCP, I think that's 3 out of 3. But I don't see her number 1. Let me go ahead. Breach says British were the worst colonizers. The English took over Ireland. We got 2/3 back, but they still own the north. Where I am from, the Celts were also conquerors, but they did it differently. Where England made people be them, Celts blended with them. Give and take on both sides. The English were brutal. Where England made people be them, Celtics blended with them. Give and take both. I think there's another one from Breach, if I can find it. And I don't see the last one from Breach. Says, it's May lag. Everything is fine. All right. It's 2/3 and 2 out of 3. Okay, Breach, it's 2 out of 3. Okay, and I didn't find the 3 out of 3, though. I hope it's there somewhere for people to see and go see. But anyhow. So anyway, folks, let's see what else we got here. Anybody have anything they want me to throw up on the screen to enlighten us all? Because we're out of material now. We're done with the program for all practical purposes. Unless somebody throws something in the chat, I am going to just ask folks to support the program, and then we're going to get out of here. I've reduced it to just going to one link. People know that people are either going to say, yes, I want to make sure we have good, well-supported media or not. Egberto Willis, no, two-thirds of the country. Oh, the way I got you, the way it was slanted, it seemed like it was message number two-thirds. Okay, thank you for clarifying that, Beach, because I almost went searching all over the place. Anyway, let me go to my last donation link, and I want to tell folks, please remember to support the program the best you can. To keep this, it has to be a continuous support. So that's why we love those folks who go ahead and say, we are going to join that monthly thing at a very little bit, but that's fine. All right, here it is. Go to politicsandright.com/support, politicsandright.com/support, and please show your support best you can. You have a whole lot of ways that have been placed in that link, so you can decide how you want to support the program to make sure we can keep doing this. That's what we're all about. Independent media. I think we're going to close out a bit early today because I want to go ahead also and start a few things early if nobody has anything else in the chat to say, because you know what? It's a lot of blogging to do tonight. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what?
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.